Hello there, welcome in, much loved gamers and Magic the Gathering players. Travis here, Magic learning Magic backwards and forwards, MTG of the day number 20 something. And this deck is a negative life combo deck with the goal of surviving for a turn in the negatives and finishing the opponent off with a giant death shadow. So this hand is interesting. It's short on mana. We could use a land and a Simian Spirit Guide to play a Pentad Prism, and then we're going to have 3 mana. We could maybe Spoils for a land. This hand is very borderline, and this is one of the most difficult decisions in Magic as we're here with our daily thinking. You can see it's in the 9 a.m.s, and I think that this is a good way to set the tone for my morning and my afternoon, see how I respond to some mental struggles. And that's what this series is about something like the optimal dose of Magic. You know, I'm going to mulligan this hand. I know I've had a reputation in the past. Yikes. Well, we could go one more. This hand is not really better. I'm going to keep just because I don't want to go to 5 and bottom this. So we are rocking with the combo deck, and combo decks tend to not always work. But when they do work, they do awesome, unusual things, and this deck is true to that. Whereas when it does work, it can go to negative 50 life. Death Shadow is a 63-63, and we can fling it at the opponent's face. Pretty awesome. Alright, here's some temples, so we are going to hit lands. I will keep Ad Nauseam. Yeah, it's a lot of mana, but if we ever get enough mana, it will win with Angel's Grace. So Angel's Grace lets us survive a turn at negative life, and Ad Nauseam lets us draw cards for life, so that's how that works. So we're going to draw Ad Nauseam, we're going to Thoughtseize, and we're going to play a Temple of Silence. So it reveals his or her hand. New function on Magic Online, it shows the opponent's remand. Okay. Well, we're going to have to wait till next turn on that. Looking for another land. Is our deal Scry? We may be up against a twin deck, and against twin, we're going to be able to Slaughter Pact. We're going to bottom this and win by surprise. Well, we can do that with Simian Spirit Guide anyways. Yeah, so here's the match. So, for those of you who have been regulars to this series so far, you know that it's Magic, but it's not just Magic. I like to talk about other things as well, or ask a question, start a small discussion, or share something useful that I've learned. Vendilion Click. I will let that resolve. So, I'm also an avid book reader. Yesterday, read an autobiography on Gandhi, Gulliver's Travels, and a book on self-talking, self-coaching. I found this very interesting. It was saying, for anyone who has negative thoughts, repetitive negative thoughts, or unhelpful thoughts, I certainly fall into this category at times. Maybe you do or you don't. What the book was saying, got rid of our Ad Nauseam, and we drew another Ad Nauseam. What the book was saying is that, we'll get back to self-talking in a moment. Deceiver, Exarch, Dispel, Remand, Snapcaster Mage. To be honest, how can we win? This is going to be really tough. We're going to leave the opponent with the Goyf. Exarch, don't care about. Dispel countering our Ad Nauseam is just ridiculous. Snapcaster Mage can get back either of those. I guess I'm going to take the Snapcaster Mage. But this game's going to be super hard to win. So it's saying, say that you have negative repetitive thoughts. Again, this isn't from my experience. This is just what this book was saying. I believe it was called Self-Coaching. If you create multiple personalities in your brain, separating the negative talker with the strong talker, it's easier to not follow the negative thoughts and do whatever, not do what the negative thinker is thinking. So, for instance, I'm trying this out. So there's I'm going to say that this is, I'm going to wait on the solder patch as well. This is a really interesting thought because, oh, that's great. I'm going to, wait a minute, if we slaughter packed, oh, we're going to get to upkeep. Yeah, we'll be able to pay for this. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, interesting. So, multiple personalities is generally considered like a crazy thing, right? But this book is saying that if you separate into multiple personalities, for instance, there's, if you're Mary, you have scared Mary and Mary. Interesting with the dispel. Scared Mary is the negative talker. Pick up the Godel Shrine here. And you don't have to listen to Scared Mary. So for me, for instance, there's Traumatic Travis. This is just something I came up with, and I'll report back on this later. It's something you can think about if you have negative repetitive thoughts. Try separating them, giving them their own personality, not listening to them, and directing your thoughts positively. That's one method. Another method that I like is this is really videos from my other channel, by the way, if you are into this kind of stuff outside of the Magic. And for those of you who are just here for the Magic, I'm sorry to let me know what you think. Does this not belong here? It's just part of my personality. It's what I like to do. It's also what makes my channel unique, I think. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2. I'm gonna go for a Death Shadow. So the opponent has a Deceiver Exarch, and they have a, wow, this is almost too good to be true, and a Remand. So if the opponent, say, remands this, that's interesting. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana, so we can cast Ad Nauseam, but not with Angel's Grace. Can play the Death Shadow. If the opponent goes for Exarch, oh, I screwed up. I should have tapped the Basilica, because now, yeah, I screwed up. Oh well. Because the opponent is going to be able to Exarch to tap one of our creatures. Or tap our land, rather. Or tap our creature. Yeah, I'm not sure. I might have goofed that up. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, here it comes. Yeah, anyways, reframing. If you have negative thoughts, say that, telling yourself that, say, I'm a loser or something like that, finish the thought, reframe it. I'm a loser, not a quitter. Quitters give up, losers keep trying. Something like that, for instance. So those are a few techniques. What do you think? Do you have your own technique? Try it out. Do you not even have any kind of thoughts like that? Etc., etc. I would love to hear. So yeah, here's the mistake, is that by paying 2 life, we would have 8 life and shouldn't have to Angel's Grace here. And then are going to have a 12/12 Death Shadow to attack back. So, mistakes get made, and perhaps Well, it's not quite over. Yeah, 12-12. This game was, we could have been sneaky and won, but I was too busy talking about something that I think is more important than winning. As the daily MTG is about a lot more than winning in perfect play. It's also very experimental. And another question I have for you, I'm trying to connect with you all and figure out what you want. Yeah, this game could have been won in a very sneaky way. If I had, maybe I should have even played the tapped Godel Shrine, and the opponent would have X-Arched the Death Shadow. Oh well. Lessons learned. Yeah. So what can I do to make my channel better in even the smallest, tiniest way? I'm gonna go for a Duress, and I'm gonna go for some Ranger of Eoses, I think. I'm gonna cut Messenger's speed. It's kind of hard to, this is a tough matchup. It's hard to combo off, but we have some tricky tools that will help us. Cut a Rite of Consumption for one Ranger. Slaughter Pact is great. I like to keep Scout's Warning for surprise. What are the tiny things I can do to make this channel better for you? As far as, should I make put more time into the thumbnails? Should I put more time into the, I think one Ranger is fine. I don't want to overload our top end. Should the deck list be featured earlier? The deck list should be up here. I'm working on a way to do that. Have like right over here on the right side, a list, kind of like MTG Goldfish, or even exactly like them. Just copy what they're doing. Mulligan this. Okay, this hand is fine. I like drawing Slaughter Pact again because it can stop the counter magic. So we're gonna keep this. Spoils of the Vault. I feel like we don't really need it. We have Angel's Grace, Ad Nauseum, and this is just risking dying. Although, in that case, it doesn't matter too much because I'm gonna fetch March Flats for just a Godless Shrine and not pay life, and we would have shuffled our deck anyways, so it does not necessarily matter. Yeah. So, also, if this is the only video you've watched, not all the videos are like this, where it's, some of them are entirely Magic, but again, I like to do more. So let me know what you're here for. What do you think about that? Sorry to overload you with questions. You don't have to answer any questions on the, oh, that's good. You don't have to answer any questions on the self-talk thing. I'm just was sharing that as something useful that I had recently learned, and two different approaches to dealing with what otherwise can be a problem. Okay, so we also have Scout's Warning, so we can win instantly. The way this combo works, right? Split second, can't lose the game. Ad Nauseam is an instant. We draw our whole deck of cards. Although, I think we're getting spell snared here. Nope. Draw our whole deck of cards. Use Scout's Warning, or use 4 Simian Spirit Guides to make red mana. Simian or a Pentad Prism. Okay, actually that's quite good. Manamorphose. Play Lightning Bolt. Interesting. There's a Dispel. Don't really care about the Deceiver Exarch. Opponent's hand is Poo Poo. And yeah. Yeah, number 2, what can I do to improve this for you? Also, I've been thinking about what makes my channel unique or whatever. Obviously, me is a lot to do with that. As polarizing as I am, hate me or love me. If you hate me, you're probably not here, which is good. You don't have to be. So the opponent taps our Basilica 2, 3. We can ad nauseam in response. Unfortunately, we are slightly short of Angel's Grace ad nauseam on this turn. We have 6 mana, but if the opponent hits our Orzhov Basilica, we can Angel's Grace first, but then we're going to be 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to be 1 mana short of ad nauseam. Alternatively, we could just cast ad nauseam. Interesting, but I think it's probably better to wait. There's a spoils, which is not necessarily that helpful, but maybe. So if the opponent hasn't drawn a counterspell in the last 2 turns, we can combo off on this next turn, which seems like a good game plan. Although there's a good chance they have drawn a counterspell, and then we're gonna lose in a humiliating way. But there's a glyph, so they're down to that last card plus lands. Okay. Go ahead and untap with 6 mana, so we have the mana to do this. Plus an Urborg. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we don't quite have the mana to spoils for a discard spell. I'm going to start off with Slaughter Pact on Tarmogoyf, my reason being that maybe the opponent, we're going to have 5 mana next. We're going to have the mana to play Slaughter Pact. In this way, maybe the opponent plays a counterspell on it, is the hope. Because if they have a counterspell, we want them to use it right now. Okay. We're going to play Angel's Grace, and then we're going to go for ad nauseam. Looks like the opponent hit F6, which means that we should be able to combo off, show off the true power of this deck. Yep. We like to draw cards. So we're going to just spam repeat. Right now we're drawing cards and losing life. We're going to negative life, and we have 4 Simian Spirit Guides. Yeah, actually we're going to be able to win through counterspells at this point, which the opponent probably doesn't have. Use Pentad Prism to... we want to leave 1 card in our deck so we can Manamorphose. Or how does Angel's Grace work? Maybe we can't lose the game this turn? You can't lose the game this turn, okay. So we'll draw our whole deck. Don't want to repeat it. We have 4 Simian Spirit Guides, which is plenty of mana. We're going to start off with a Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize you, and we have 1 Manamorphose to turn our red mana into, okay, the opponent has bricked. Exile Simian. Exile Simian. There's the Manamorphose, so we're going to make black, black off it. Cast this thing. Black, black mana. And cast this thing. And exile this thing. And now we have a big Death Shadow in play. And we can either fling it at the opponent. I'm going to use Rite of Consumption. Hide the fling. Where are you? Rite of Consumption. And drain the opponent's face for 72. 72. Bam. Negative 55, back up to 13. Alright, well that was cool. And one of the things I've found, for those of you who have problems with misplays, not problems with misplays, but problems with letting misplays goes, right? Making misplays is not the problem, but having them linger in your brain is the problem. Something that's really helped me is I'm playing Magic for learning and for fun, and if I'm playing 1 match a day, I don't mind having a 3rd game, right? So if I had played game one perfectly and we had won, we might only have 2 games today. And also, another thing about the format of this series, if you've been watching, when we win, we usually move on to a new deck, and when we lose, we repeat. So when I pick up a deck, I really don't mind losing the first match because I want to repeat. I like having maybe Molten Slag Keep as another mana. Ranger of Eos is pretty slow. Well, I'm actually gonna keep it and see how we do. Okay, so we're back for game 3, and we finally get to keep a 7-card hand. That's pretty good, actually. Opponent's upkeep. Serum Visions. So do we want to Thoughtseize on turn 1 is the interesting thing. A lot of the time we think, okay, we have a mana, we should just Thoughtseize right now. But the opponent put cards on top of their deck, and if we want to get them with Thoughtseize, then we should wait. It will also save us life if we want to save life. We do want to rush our life. We don't necessarily want to rush our life total down because there's a Phyrexian on life. Yeah, I'm going to wait until turn 2 on Thoughtseize. We don't actually necessarily want to rush our life total down because the opponent is winning by damage anyways. So, yeah, okay. If there's a Glyph, then maybe I should have Thoughtseized it, although I'm not sure in what situation I would actually Thoughtseize Tarmogoyf. That's interesting. Yeah, so that's why maybe we should have Thoughtseized turn 1, although, to be fair, if I would have Thoughtseized, I would have fetched for a Swamp, and we wouldn't have drawn Pentad Prism. So I would like to Thoughtseize to take Vendilion Click if the opponent has Vendilion Click. I would also like to get a good amount of mana in play. I'm going to Thoughtseize. Cryptic Command, opponent doesn't have the mana for it yet. I'm going to take the Snapcaster Mage. It's a pretty insane hand, really. Take the Snapcaster Mage. Opponent will probably find the mana for Cryptic Command, but... And I'm gonna... I should have waited on fetching to see if we wanted to pay extra life, which maybe we do to get Death Shadow into play next turn. So Serum Visions, another Serum Visions. We may need to draw another discard spell in order to win. And by the way, another thing is about mistakes. If you find that you're making them, if you find that you're not making them, there's probably a problem. Well, okay, so you want to make all your mistakes before a tournament, right? If you're playing in a tournament, don't make mistakes. But if you're practicing and you're not making mistakes, then Sacred Foundry, then maybe you should I'm gonna grab another Godless Shrine and get an untapped. Then maybe you should be challenging yourself more, right? White, black, Pentad Prism, and ship the turn. So this is pretty interesting, the mix of cards we have. Opponent has Cryptic Command mana up, so... Oh, but chooses to tap down. So, if you look at the mana available, 5, if we draw a land, although I'm trying to imagine why the opponent chose to tap their counter shields down. Now we have a 5/5 Death Shadow, so, and we have a few tricks to survive as well, and we have Rite of Consumption to finish. So I like our, not necessarily our chances to win, but our chances to play an entertaining game. I'm gonna go to the attack step. and I'm gonna attack. Okay. And use a temple and see what's available for us. That's interesting. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Would go to 7 mana. That's very interesting. So we're going to play Unlife. Maybe it gets countered. I'm going to pull up the opponent's hand from what we know. Now it's getting really interesting. I'll spend extra time to try to get this right. Okay. I think we're going to get remanded maybe. 3, 4, 5, 6. I feel like this is not the card that we want. We want a discard spell. If we could pick anything. 3, 4 removal spell. We have 6 mana, which is enough to do useful things. Okay, so Unlife coming down. Guessing this is going to see some kind of counter spell. Or maybe not, because the opponent can bounce it with Cryptic Command. Opponent down to 9, which is not a whole lot. 3 mana. Counterflex. Very interesting. Can't be countered. Okay, well, we can't counter it. So, the life totals are getting close. The opponent has a Tarmogoyf. Although we have a, which we're going to take. We have Death's Shadow, which is about to be a 10/10. So, interesting. I'm going to go ahead and declare attack. Alright, hey, we won a match. Actually, maybe we didn't, because the opponent could have Dispel up. They could have a few things up. I'm not going to say we've won. So Death's Shadow is tapped. We're going to be dead to Dispel, and there's a good chance the opponent has it. So Dispel, we come back tomorrow and play another match. How's that sound by you? Hopefully the opponent has a Lightning Bolt, if anything. Opponent at 10, okay, well, we'll just go for it. We're not necessarily dead if the opponent has Dispel. Yeah, we are. Okay, yeah, we are. Okay, hope the opponent has a Lightning Bolt. Hey, we won a match. Okay, maybe we'll be back with it tomorrow. Nice. Okay, let's go ahead and take again, if you made it all the way to the end, the deck works, and you think that the deck should be at the start, I just like to get into the match, but I want to make it the best for you. Sorry about the lag in the last 5 seconds. So whatever's best for you, I want to do. Let me know how we can reformat this. I've been experimenting, and I want, at this point, we found a formula that seems to be fun, entertaining, something I can do most days, and at this point, it's like, how can we make it better, right? Now we're revising. So how this deck works, we didn't cast Spoils of the Vault, but we have Angel's Grace, which you saw, and we have Phyrexian Unlife, which didn't get to be in play. In both of these, you don't lose the life for having 0 or less life, you don't lose the game for having 0 or less life, so we don't lose the game for going to, say, negative 70 life off of either Spoils of the Vault, which finds whatever card we want, or Ad Nauseam, which draws our deck. Then we can make mana off Simian Spirit Guides, exile them, Manamorphose, turn it into black, play a Death's Shadow, which is a 72/72, and fling it at them or consume them. Scout's Warning lets us do it at instant speed if they're a counter magic deck. Throw in a Death's Shadow with Flash, and we have some discard, and that's basically it. The deck also has an alternative beatdown plan, which you saw in that final game. We didn't resolve the combo, but just having a 10/10 Death Shadow turned out to be good enough that game. As for sideboard, Wear Tear is a way to destroy artifacts or enchantments for cheap. Molten Slag Heap, which is really for counter decks, but since I didn't bring it in, maybe it can be cut. Spellskite, some sweepers, some more card draw, protection from other combos, discard Range Reveals for more gas, timely reinforcements to give us more game against certain aggressive decks. And that's the deck. I may come back and play it again because I want to play with it more times, and we can not necessarily break the rules. The rules are if we lose, we have to come back, and if we win, we can come back. So it's discipline, habit formation, about losing, being a loser until you finally succeed. So on that note, it's a pretty long match today. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you think about self-talking. If there's more to it, you have strategies, or if you find that helpful. Either one, separating your negative personality from your true personality, and two, positive reframing of negative thoughts, and then what we can do to make this better. And especially as far as me rambling about non-magic stuff. But again, I like to do that. That makes this channel worthwhile for me, because Magic for me is a platform for me to do bigger work. If it was just 100% a game and I had to stick to the game 100%, it would be not nearly as fun for me. It wouldn't be fit in line with what I'm trying to do with my life as much. But you're the audience and you decide, and I'm to some degree, and I'm open to hearing anything. So finally, thank you so much to our patrons, for Patreons, for making this happen, and I will see you back here tomorrow. Take care. Have a good day.